Today, I'm thinking about whether it's rational to be a conspiracy theorist. I will use works by Neil Levy and David Coady to help form my conclusion, as well as other philosophers. There will be a bibliography of these works in the description. Ultimately, I'll argue that it is not irrational to be a conspiracy theorist. Coady argues that it's not irrational to be a conspiracy theorist, and using this term pejoratively is wrong. He believes there are certain conditions that would make being a conspiracy theorist rational, and assesses definitions of the term to understand how we can resist using it pejoratively. Many view conspiracy theorists as irrational because they're overly prone to believing events are conspiratorial. In the book Self-Knowledge for Humans, Cassam refers to them as especially gullible. This is referring to them being willing to believe dubious sources without fact-checking or assessing the validity of the information themselves. Moscovici, in the Theory of Social Behaviour, describes conspiracy theorists as especially prone to cognitive biases, such as thinking that theories make sense due to intentional activity and that big events require big causes, and confirmation biases. Conspiracy theorists appear irrational as they see connections where there isn't, and believe everything's a scheme to harm them. Cassam goes on to suggest the reason why conspiracy theorists are irrational is because of definitions of conspiracy theories. He defines conspiracy theories as not just theories about conspiracies, but tools of propaganda to spread ideological beliefs. Muirhead and Rosemblum define conspiracy theories as not theories at all, but ways of expressing one's allegiance to a group. In their book, A Lot of People Are Saying. So, conspiracy theories are irrational, as they're likely propaganda to trick the gullible or ways to create an echo chamber of group values. Overall, Coady's suggestion that we shouldn't be disparaging to conspiracy theories/theorists seems fallible. A strong and valid argument is needed to create a rational reason for being a conspiracy theorist. Coady acknowledges criticisms, stating that on some definitions there is something wrong with being a conspiracy theorist, but no one is considered a conspiracy theorist by these definitions. Coady believes that on other definitions, that everyone is a conspiracy theorist, but there is nothing wrong with being one by these terms. He thinks most people could be considered conspiracy theorists, but wouldn't label themselves as one due to negative connotations. Therefore, a balance must be necessary to allow people to be critical, because institutions could be lying to them. Coady surmises that it's impossible for a definition which suits this balance, as if it's too harsh, everyone who criticises will be included, or too loose, the strongest fanatics are excluded. Coady suggests that in an open society with less ambiguity between the official story and conspiracy theories, using the term conspiracy theorist pejoratively would still have a negative effect. In a truly open society, we would not paint conspiracy theorists negatively, as it's wrong to deny the possibility of conspiracies. Government shutdown of theories without open discussion is propagandistic, according to Coady. Sunstein and Vermeule disagree, stating that false conspiracy theories have no positive effects from open discussion, and institutions have a right to silence them. They believe the reason institutions have cause is because it's opening people's eyes to harm caused by members of government, and theorists are becoming distrustful of them. They propose that the solution for governments is to infiltrate these groups. Coady tells us that this is literally a conspiracy, as suggesting that government should investigate those who follow conspiracies, especially if they're wrong, could then risk being discovered and create a confirmation for these theorists of their false beliefs. He then goes on to say that the term conspiracy theorist would need to either stop being used pejoratively or be reclaimed by those who feel not inclined to use it due to the negative connotations. Coady suggests a new pejorative, coincidence theorists, assigned to those who think apparent revealed conspiracy theories are only coincidence and there's no evidence behind them. Conspiracy baiters dismiss too much, and Coady thinks that dismissing too much is the same as believing too much, and a balance of both is needed for rational public discussion. He surmises that to protect society, we have to be willing to investigate conspiracies, not because they're all true, but because some are. If we ignore any, the chance increases of institutions getting away with moral harm. Now, let's look at Levy's views on the rationality of conspiracy theories. Levy compares examples of irrationality to conspiracy theories to prove it's rational. He suggests objective rationality. Agents are rational if they fail to use the method which has the highest chance of success, and subjective rationality, using the method you view as the most rational. We can use objective irrationality to decide how rare conspiracies are. If the base rate's low, then we're sure it's reasonable to dismiss conspiracies. It's hard to tell theorists that their theory is objectively irrational, as their thoughts are likely subjectively rational due to a strong belief that they're being tricked into switching opinion. Levy thinks they could be considered objectively rational for having subjective standards. Although the theory they believe could be wrong, they are correct in mistrusting institution, as conspiracies do happen. He goes on to write that those with irrational thinking patterns are likely to believe conspiracy theories due to their subjective standards. Therefore, being a conspiracy theorist is inherently irrational. However, he doesn't think conspiracy theorists should be criticised for this. If they're in an environment where it's possible for conspiracies to be true, it's rational to assume that some conspiracies could be true. If the government fostered greater levels of trust, there wouldn't be reasons for conspiracy theorists to think irrationally. Conspiracy theorists are seen as irrational as they make jumps in thinking. This is not a reason to see them as irrational, as everyone jumps to conclusions. Levy then discusses two types of thinking. Type 1 thinking, which is instant, and Type 2, which is reflective. We would assume that Type 2 is more accurate and Type 1's related to conspiracy theories. Levy proposes that Type 1's more essential. If conspiracy theorists trust their source is valid, they're not wrong to use Type 1 thinking, as it's quicker and therefore rational. Overall, he states that conspiracy theorists are both high and low trust. He states that only having one of these features doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist, but having both does. If we see conspiracy theorists as a reasonable distrust towards institutions, we only have to promote trust to make them less irrational, which an open society promotes, aligning with Coady's idea that open societies limit conspiracy theories. Criticism of Levy suggests he fails to define rationality. Levy's reply suggests actions are rational if they lead to true outcomes. A problem with this is success isn't cognitive for conspiracy theorists, but social. They aim to expose to others the government breaking moral bounds. Desire to be a conspiracy theorist relies on social gratification, which is irrational. The reliance on testimony from people they think are benevolent, as well as a benefit of being regarded as benevolent by others, shows motivation to align with group views. This shows conspiracy theorists as irrational, as they're motivated by social aspects and not cognitive ones. Levy thinks beliefs being based on testimony and not evidence isn't a valid criticism, as everyone trusts based on benevolence. If conspiracy theorists distrust governments, it's rational they only believe each other to be benevolent and therefore believe their theories. In conclusion, it's not irrational to be a conspiracy theorist, even though they're susceptible to cognitive biases or are likely to trust sources that lack evidence. Coady and Levy think a level of skepticism is necessary as governments have a history of conspiracies. The pejorative use of conspiracy theorists creates a negative stereotype which silences legitimate criticisms of government. Coady thinks that a reconceptualization is necessary for openness and encouragement of criticism. Levy suggests that although conspiracy theories can appear irrational by objective standards, it's still rational in subjective standards or in social contexts. This is particularly within societies where government level of openness is low. Ultimately, the level of truth to a conspiracy is irrelevant. The methods and motivation are what deems it to be rational. A transparent society without requiring blind faith is the solution for preventing conspiratorial paranoia and uncritical concern. This would create a rational conspiracy theorist that would benefit society.